Howdy. All right, so today we are going to be, by the way, it's beautiful out today. I am so behind on bee work, and it's so beautiful out that I'm not stressing over it because it's such a beautiful day God's given us. And I'm just going to go ahead and enjoy it. It's been rainy for a few days. The bees are flying. You can see my little nuke stack, my tall nuke stack is starting to lean a little bit. It's not quite straight, but anyway, they're flying pretty good. Probably bringing in a little nectar. But anyway, today on the agenda is, well, I've got a lot of things on the agenda, but I have one thing that is more important than anything, and that is I have a breeder queen that I'm going to install today. So I'm going to do a little video on how to install a breeder queen. This is an artificially inseminated or instrumentally inseminated breeder queen from Wildflower Meadows, purchased through the Northern Queen Initiative, which I'm a part of. And we're going to be grafting some daughters off of this girl and selling the virgins for stock for people looking to add some VSH into their apiaries. So I'm going to show you today how I do it. I don't know if it's how everybody else does it, but I would venture to guess that anybody who has done it a few times is going to do it quite similar to the way that I'm doing it, okay? So before we go over to the colony, I just want to let you know I picked up the breeder queen today. She's very small. She looks like she's the size of a worker bee right now. I hate that, but that's just the way it is. I have no idea how long she's been banked. I do know that she is a laying and proven. So they inseminate her, they put her in a colony, she begins to lay. I don't know how long they let them lay. Hopefully at least 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know though. But anyway, so it's quite small right now. And so one of the things that you want to do, I'm just going to take a little walk and get away from my boy who's back there splitting some wood with the wood splitter. But one of the things you want to keep in mind is when you're dealing with a breeder queen, number one, you're dealing with money. There's a lot of money involved. It's an investment. And so when you install those breeder queens, you want to do as much as you can to put the odds in your favor that they're accepted, okay? And these are not like regular queens you just drop in a cage and expect everything to go well. You know, these are queens that often are rejected or attempted to supersede. You know, I thoroughly expect once I get her installed and she's going in there, I'm going to go back probably in 5 days to a week, no longer, and I'm going to look for supersedure cells. Hopefully she's laying by then, but it wouldn't be uncommon. Last year I did this with one, and the first couple times I went in there were supersedure cells, and then they just let her be, okay? So hopefully I have a little bit better success this time. As far as what I've done with the queen, the first thing I've done with the queen now is I picked her up today. I removed all of the nurse bees that were in the cage with her. Okay, not immediately, but I did it as soon as I could put her in the hive. So both sides of her cage are capped. I took her and I set her in the colony that she's going to be a part of, okay? And she's been in there 3 or 4 hours now with the cover on and whatnot. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna look for some emerging brood. That's what I want. If you can get the trifecta of emerging brood, food, and plenty of open cells, that's great, okay? That's what you'd like. But if I can get a little bit of food and emerging brood, I'm okay. The other thing I should note is I've prepped this colony ahead of time, a week ahead of time, okay? I prepped it from a colony that I pulled the queen from a week prior. And I split up the colonies too, and I made this one colony out of 2 colonies. And the reason why I've done that is there's been some research that has shown that mixing bees like that to accept a new queen seems to help. I don't know if it's hard data or not, but I'm going to give it a whirl anyway. I started doing that this year. I haven't seen any problems yet, but that's the way I'm kind of doing it. Okay, so I'm pretty confident that there's going to be a cell or two in there still. I don't know, and it doesn't matter if I was 100% sure. I'm still going to go through that colony, and I'm going to make darn sure that there are no queen cells in that colony. If you've got them raising a queen in there, and you put an II queen in that colony, she's toast. Promise you. You need to make them hopelessly queenless. Okay, that's the important thing. Hopelessly queenless. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to get my smoker going a little bit, and I'm going to go into the colony. Now that my queen's in there, I'm going to go through every single frame, and I'm going to shake bees off, and I'm going to look for queen cells. It's very important that you shake the bees off the frames and look for hidden queen cells. Please do it, okay? Then I know that they have nothing in there whatsoever with which they can make a queen, okay? I will be perfectly confident at that point. Then I am going to use the old trusty old pushing cage. Now the company that I bought the company that we bought the queen from sends a plastic pushing cage. I just don't like them. I haven't really figured out a good way to use them without them sneaking under the wax and getting out prematurely. So I like this kind. I would call this the Michael Palmer style. I made it myself, and you will push this down all the way to the plastic foundation, and then I'm going to reinforce it with a rubber band, which, by the way, after a couple of days, maybe 3 or 4 days, they will chew that rubber band out and it will be no good anymore. So anyway, this is what the queen's gonna be looking through. But anyway, I'm gonna put this pushing cage over some open cells, if I can find open cells, emerging brood, and food. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So the next step now for me is to go in there and look for queen cells through the whole colony. And if I find any, I'm gonna destroy them, and then I'm gonna set the queen under the pushing cage. All right, hold tight. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and go through this whole colony, and I'm going to be looking for queen cells. And then take this off real quick. You can see I got my queen sitting in here. And she looks good. I'm just going to kind of keep her right here. The other thing I'm doing is I'm watching all those bees, and I'm looking for aggression, and those bees are just not aggressive to her at all. They're all trying to feed her. So that's a good thing. If you see stinging, might be a decent idea to wait another day or so, but the pushing cage helps a lot. So this is all nurse bees for the most part. Small colony, not too big. You don't want too big of a colony. And like I said, I'm going to shake every frame off. Okay. So actually, this frame right here has pollen, open cells, and a lot of emerging bees right here. I might actually use this frame and put it right in the middle. And I'm checking these cells. Yeah, I might actually end up using that frame, to be honest. Unless I find one better. Let's see. Now the other thing you notice is, shaking bees gets them irritated. So I wouldn't just release a queen in here today after smoking them and irritating them and whatnot. To me, that would lend to them possibly being aggressive toward the queen. So the cage works wonderfully. It gives them time to calm down and whatnot. Okay. That frame's perfectly fine. Yeah, these were empty frames that I put in there for places for the queen to lay. Okay, I see all these little bees, lots of nurse bees in here. This is perfect. No eggs. Okay, emerging bees. So this would be a perfectly acceptable frame as well. Either side here would work fine. And no queen cells in here. And I designed it this way. The way I designed it is cat brood like a week ago is all going to be close to emerging today. Okay, there is one cell right there. Pretty hideous one. Nice little cat brood frame here. You want to look for any hidden cells in here. Yep. We're good there. Don't need to shake that one, and I know that this was an empty frame, so there's nothing on that one. So I've got two options now. I've got this one with emerging brood and empty cells and food. And if you want to, if you don't see anything emerging, you can see there's a purple-eyed pupa there, so she's a couple days away yet. So this side right here would work fine. There's not a lot of food there, and that's the only thing I don't like. I've got nectar here, and not quite. Let me go back to that first frame I had. Yeah, this one right here. Not in love with my options, but I think they're good enough. I think I can put the queen about right here, and we'll probably be okay. Probably go here. Probably go on this side here. That's what I'm going to do. Now, the other thing I want to be careful of is I'm going to feed this colony, so I want to make sure that I don't put my queen right above my feeder. Okay. So I've made my decision to go right here. That's where I'm going to go. I've got bees emerging here. I've got some pollen, a little bit of nectar. I think this will work out just fine here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go shake the bees off. I forgot to bring my brush. Yeah. Yeah, I've got little ones coming out right now. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the queen. Yep, that's about where I want to go. I've got a little gap here. I can put my rubber band on it real easy. So we're going to go ahead now. Now I'm pulling my cork and I'm holding my finger. And I'm going to let her walk out, and as soon as she walks out, I put the cage down. And I got a couple of bees with her. And now the next step is I want to push the cage down, but I want to wait till she's in the middle so I don't hurt her. Now I'm going to look and see if there's any aggression toward her by the bees that are in there. And there really isn't. By the way, she's fluorescent green number 34. Okay, I see one of the bees tending to her right now. She just fed her. No aggression at all. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to try to push this push-in cage all the way down to the foundation in here, because then I'll tell you, the bees after 4 days, they can still chew that out. I've seen it before. I've introduced queens before and they had gone underneath, and well, she looks pretty excited. All right, so now I'm gonna take my rubber band . The rubber band just adds a little bit of reinforcement holding the push-in cage on, like that. I can move this now over here. And then I'm going to put the queen down in here, like that. Okay, and then I want to make sure that there's room on the frame next to it for the bees to get there to her. So I want a gap there, just enough for the bees. I want her to have as much access as she can possibly have, and that looks really good. So the next step is I'm going to button her up, and I'm going to get a small feeder, and I'm going to just trickle feed them, okay? And she's over here, so I'm going to kind of put the feeder hole right here on the edge, so in case there's any dripping, it doesn't drip right on the queen. So what I need next is another box to put around here, which I'll get, and then here it is. I'm going to just put that right on there like that. And then I'm going to go get a feeder, and we'll get some feed on this girl. And that'll be that. All right, so we're following up on the breeder queen, day 4. And this is the day that most likely we're going to release her. Be as gentle as possible as we go in. All right, so I can see that they've been taking the feed. That's a good thing. I'm not going to use a lot of smoke either, so but you can see most of the feed's gone. That down there. All right. Just gonna use a little smoke. That's it. Just a little smoke. Okay. I'm just gonna pull this outer frame. Just remember, I should have mostly nurse bees in here, emerging nurse bees. My queen's gonna be on this frame here. Looks like there's good coverage on all the frames around her. Alright, so the first thing I'm gonna do is make sure that somehow, some way, they didn't figure out a way to get released, to release her. And then I'm gonna see if she's got eggs in there. And I'm gonna watch how they're treating her. Ooh, she's got a lot of bees in there with her. I can't, so many bees in there emerged. I can't even tell if she started laying. Yep, there's so many bees in there I couldn't even tell you if she started laying. So I'm gonna take the rubber band off, which is always one of the more exciting things the bees enjoy. And my queen, she does look like she's sized up a little. So now when I pull the cage off, I want to make sure that she's not actually on the cage. So there she is. I do see eggs in the cells, so that's good. Okay, that's what I want to see. There are eggs in there. They look very happy with her. There's a good amount of bees around her, and there's no aggression. So I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing here. I am gonna close it up real quick here. Yep, that's good looking. I like that. That's what I want to see. Yep. So while I'm in here, just one more time, I'm going to look for cells. Even though I'm pretty sure it's been way too long. It's better to be safe than sorry. So I want this side. Yep, definitely eggs in there. I'm not going to shake bees this time though. I don't want to do anything that will get them riled up. Yeah, there's a lot of young bees in here. I see so many nurse bees in here. That's what I want. Alright, so we should be good. Chalk another one up to the push-in cage. And just so you guys know, I'm going to check in 5 to 7 days again to see if they're trying to supersede her, okay? So we'll just go ahead and button it up like that. Put the feed back in. That, and then I'll just put boxes on them. Extra box to cover the feed. And that's it. So that's what we got for the time being. All right, well, so I might do a follow-up video just to see how she's doing, but you get the gist of it. Have a good day.